Hi, Capricorn. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for October of 2022. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
I'm Julia Mijas in Mystic, Connecticut.
Well, Capricorn, your horoscope features a lot of activity in your 10th and 11th houses, making this month all about work and networking. If this horoscope brings up questions, we have answers, and a mission orders reading is the one to get. You can get that. You can find a link for that in the text that comes with this video. Well, Capricorn, October begins with the moon and Mercury activity to light up this month, and it finishes with wonderful relationship themes. So let's start with the moon, and you'll find it on October 9th. This is a full moon in Aries, which lands right here in your 4th house of home and family, domestic life, heritage, and roots. The moon is in Aries, which can be explosive and argumentative. And it's conjunct Chiron, which can absolutely make it reactive and sensitive. So there may be some arguments and some harsh vibes in your home life during this moon, and you can approach them with diplomacy and tact, and that can really, really help you to smooth out ruffled feathers under this moon at home. Also, Saturn is here to help by bringing in structure and a little objectivity and a little distance to help smooth out this, rather running roughshod Aries moon. We're calling it arguments that wound, dialogue that heals, because of that balance with Venus in Libra. And really, it's your choice as to whether to sort of add fuel to the fire or pour oil on troubled waters, to use a couple of aphorisms that we are fond of. Julia, what is the news about Mercury, Mars, and Venus before we even get more deeply into the relationship themes this month?
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, Capricorn, Mercury goes direct very early in the month on October 2nd, which is a big relief for us all. This whole retrograde cycle mainly happened last month, but it took place in your 9th house of education, of law, of travel. So if you have been doing any travel lately, you probably ran into a lot of issues along the way with Mercury retrograde in this house. This could also be a time of redoing and rethinking what you're doing in school, too, for all the Capricorns who are still in higher education. And if you're involved in any legal disputes, this may have been a time of reviewing your case. Now, things are going to get a lot better now that it's direct, and on October 10th, Mercury moves into your 10th house. This is the house of your career, so your mind is really preoccupied with your job throughout this month. Maybe you're thinking about what you want to major in to help you get into the next career, or maybe you're planning projects in the career you already have. Mercury in the 10th house might be a time of increased communication with the people you work with. And since the 10th house represents our public image, if you have to do any public speaking, this is a really good time for it. Then on October 29th, Mercury moves into your 11th house of friends, where you're going to be hearing a lot more from your friends, maybe more text, calls, and communication. It can be a very social time. And that transit is mainly taking place next month. So definitely stay tuned to what we have to say in our next month videos too. Now, Mars, the planet of action and activity, is slowing down all month, and he's going to come to a grinding halt on October 30th when he goes retrograde. And this is all taking place in your 6th house. This is a house of health. This is also a house of work, and it can also include your routines in life. Mars, since it's it's a planet of action and activity. Going retrograde, you might be having to redo some of your actions. So if you have any health routines, let's say you have a workout regimen, you might be having to redo something about this, might be having to redo some part of that in some way. Maybe you're finding that it's not working for you and you need to try something else. This can also be a time of running into frustrations and conflict with the people that you work with as well. And if you do have any chronic health conditions, like migraines or PMS, stuff of that nature, inflammation, blood-related things, they could be acting up. But this whole retrograde cycle is going to give you an opportunity to take a new approach to them so that hopefully you'll be able to actually move forward and maybe make some progress on them, even if it's a little frustrating at the time. Now, Venus, the planet of art, beauty, and relationships, starts the month in your 10th house. Again, this is a very, very public house. So there might be something about your relationship, which is ruled by Venus, that you want to make public in some way. Maybe you want to invite your partner to meet your boss or at a work function. Maybe if you've been dating someone for a while, you're going to tell your parents, hey, we're an item. This might also be a time of making it public by choosing to get married, which is really a very, very public thing we can do in our relationships. And on October 22nd, we have a special day when Venus is exactly conjoining the sun. It's called Relationship Rapture Day. And that's when love can start moving forward in our lives. And in the 10th house, you might find ways that you and your partner can sort of harmonize more in terms of career or even public reputation. Again, this could be the season of marriage proposals. And that can also definitely help you move forward, making that commitment more public. Then on October 23rd, Venus enters your 11th house and is going to stay there for the rest of the month, which is just going to bring some fun and pleasure to your social circles. Really great transit for Halloween, getting together with your friends on Halloween, and whether you're still trick-or-treating or whether you just like going out to a bar together or hanging out at home watching scary movies. It's just a very social and fun time among your friends. And I know Jamie has a few more things to say about relationships this month.
Yeah, and how they plug into the moons too. The sun starts the month in Libra and then sweeps on into Scorpio right here on the 23rd, beginning a season that is very connected with intimacy, psychological depth, also transformation and metamorphosis, death and rebirth. When the sun is moving through a given house, we want to bring our high quality attention to that area and shine the light of consciousness into it. And then wonderful things can burgeon there. The sun is moving into the 11th house for you, Capricorn, and this is a house of community and networks, friends, tribe, the people you feel a sense of alignment with. And that can include your professional networks as well. So this is a really good 30-day period as Scorpio begins here on the 23rd for 30 days after that for cultivating those acquaintances. Now, Juno has been retrograde for several months since late July. And here's Juno. She's traveling along through your 3rd house of communication. And when Juno goes retrograde, we're cast upon an inward journey about our relationships. We go into a space of retrospection and introspection regarding our social connections, whether they be spousal, romantic, or even business partnerships. This can apply to. And so it's been several months of deep thinking and looking back at the history of a given relationship or of your relationship history in general. And you may be asking yourself, how's the communication in this relationship? Because Juno's been traveling through the 3rd house of communication. You may be asking yourself, does this person stimulate my mind? Are they interesting to talk to? And by the way, with Juno in Pisces, how do they mesh with my spiritual value system? Do I feel like we connect on a deep level that maybe even transcends this life alone. So Juno goes direct on October 23rd, which signals a finish to this period of retrospection. We can stop thinking about all that stuff so much and instead begin to move forward in our relationship. So as Juno goes direct, it's also forming a really lovely trine with Venus and Sun, which have just had that relationship rapture day. This is a really wonderful connection for Juno to make, and it is even intensified by the moon arriving on October 25th and conjuncting the Sun in a solar eclipse. Now, usually I'm not a fan of solar eclipses. They can be times that can feel rather dark, rather intense, especially if the moon is in Scorpio. But this particular one has so much harmony in it that I just really have to revise my usual opinion of eclipses. That's because Juno is trining all three of these planets, Venus, Moon, and Sun. And with Venus and the Sun connecting in that relationship rapture day, and Juno basically, taking off the leash and letting relationships move forward again, I think that this eclipse has the potential to be a really good time to just trot out all the stuff you've been thinking about since late July about your relationship and the ways that you wish it was different, the ways that you would dream it up to be, and also to create some fixes to any communication issues that you've had in your relationship. And to do that by modeling good communication, by coming to your partner and telling them what's on your mind, and listening to what's been on their mind, because we're all going through this together, this relationship retrospection. So this moon, we're calling it confessions, acceptance, healing, because it has a very sort of a purging nature to it, a cleansing nature to it, if you will. And it's a really good time to approach your partner with compassion and warmth and an open heart, and ask them, what's been on your mind about our relationship? How could we make it better? And for you to be ready to tell them the same. And then beautiful things can result. Well, that's what we have for you today. Hope you enjoyed it. You can always find your horoscope on our website, pandoraastrology.com, in the horoscopes tab. And if you want a reading, there's a tab for that as well. You can get into the schedule with me or Julia. And if you want to know more about these moons, check out the monthly forecast, where you'll see videos telling you a lot more about them. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.